So sorry, when we're looking at hadiths, for example, and we find a sahih hadith, you said we can question contents of a hadith instead of rejecting all of it. That's allowed.
We don't question the content. So who, like for example, Dhahabi questioned it. He's a major scholar of hadith.
Yeah, like a muhaddith.
If we have someone who's done that in the past, we can go. And if someone says, "Look, I don't this hadith for me, I agree with the Dhahabi, and therefore I don't accept it," I'm not going to say you're a deviant. I'm not going to say, "Oh, you're a hadith rejecter." You know, he doesn't reach that level. But what I'm saying is, if the motivations of rejecting a hadith is because you don't want to give the Orientalists an argument, or because it has what you consider to be fantastical elements, because you're living in the 21st century, even though you believe in hadith, even though the same modern people that make the seerah argument would accept a lower level hadith, like a da'if jiddan hadith, which this isn't, by the way, on issues which and put it in their seerah and mention it as if it's fact. Do you know what I mean? Even though there's even more problems with what they're mentioning. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it shows that there isn't a consistent policy regarding the authenticity of hadith in many of the modern seerahs. If you want to be strict with the authenticity of hadith, you should be strict with everything. Tell everyone, like what we're trying to do now, this is authentic, this we don't really know, because this is da'if. Just do that, if you want to do that. But if you're going to say that, okay, well, I'm going to be critical of my own self, and you've got all this baggage of the 21st century, I'm not really interested in, that kind of rejection of hadith for those purposes. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Or it's fantastical and it's legendary. According to whom, yani? Isra al-Ma'raj, when we cover it, we'll see, and there's going to be a very interesting session, by the way, especially with the physics. We're going to talk about time travels and all that kind of stuff, and yes, we are. Because, Isra al-Ma'raj, did that happen when the Prophet ﷺ saw Jannah and Nar, for example? Was he going into the future? Is it possible to go into the future? Is it different to go into the future than go into the past? I mean, Stephen Hawking, for example, saying going into the past is impossible, logically impossible, but going into the future is possible. So because speed and time are connected, so if you go so fast, you can go into the future. So when the Prophet ﷺ was taken, was that something which is time travel effectively or not? These are questions that we're going to grapple with. But the point I'm making is, if you believe in things like that, if you believe in situations like that with Isra al-Ma'raj, where the Prophet ﷺ, when he came down, he even knew that saying it to the people, they will disbelieve in him. He knew that. Because the hadith that we covered last 2 sessions ago, it says what? That he was hazinan. The Prophet was hazin. He was sad after the Isra al-Ma'raj. And Abu Jahl was there saying, go and tell the people what you told me. And then when he told the people, some of them rejected Islam. Because it was seen to be outside of I can't believe this. But he knew, and we said that the proof of authenticity of the Prophet is that he knew that people would reject it. Even then, he said it, he narrated it. So there are things which in our religion, it took the early generation a leap of faith, if you like, to believe. So if we're going to believe in that, this story is here, like the tree doing prostration, or the cloud doing that, for me is much less. If I say, wallahi, if someone in this room said to me, I went to such and such a place, and then the cloud came over me, and it was like it was prostrating over me and protecting me from the sun, I say, I believe you. But if someone came to me today and said, look, I went up into the sky and came back, I say, this guy, have you been taking a hallucinogen? Because this it's much higher level. So if you're going to believe in that, bad awla, you believe in all the other ones. Don't reject hadith for this reason. Anyway.
Could I ask a question as well? How is it that we have such immense amounts of detail in these hadiths, yet we don't know when the Prophet ﷺ's granddad died? Like, why is it that's like...
Because it was early generation, no one was writing that stuff down because they didn't know who was the Prophet. He was not Prophet.
But didn't he say it? Didn't he explain it to them?
No. Not. He might have, but we don't have the authentic narration. That's the problem.
Because these are like important events in the Prophet's life, and we don't have it, but we have little details of something that could be deemed as unimportant.
The thing is what we have is what is required for our guidance. And for me, it makes no difference if the Prophet ﷺ's granddad died when he was 7 or 6. Zero difference. They're not really important details for the guidance of humanity. And there is a controversial hadith which is sahih. I don't know if you guys have come across it, and I don't really want to bring it up because it's controversial even among Muslim people. But about the Sahabi who the Prophet said that to him, that your father is in hell, and he says, my father and your father.
Yeah.
Have you come across that?
Yeah.
So, the point is that there's not that much that's a very interesting hadith, actually, if you think about the face of it, because a lot of Orientalists, they say the Prophet was trying to glorify his parents. This hadith, by the way, cuts all of that. Right.
But how could he? This is just a question based on what you said. How can his father have gone to hell when Islam wasn't?
Beautiful. So that's what the scholars differ about. How could it be that
unless he was ethically wrong and judged according
and
to his...
he wasn't sent. وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا, and there's ijma' on the fact that you could not be punished until you were sent the Prophet, and he wasn't the Prophet yet, so how could he be punished? And some scholars say, for example, Ibn Taymiyyah and others, they say that actually what this shows is that, you know how most scholars, or a lot of them at least, say that when someone dies, what's going to happen to them if they have not received the message of Islam? And some say that you will be subjected to a test. So some scholars say that this test effectively has the Prophet Muhammad is saying about the future. So he's saying that, you know, for example, in the hadith of the woman, the prostitute, who gave water to a dog and she went to Jannah. Well, the Jannah hasn't come yet, in the sense that, you know, the Day of Judgment has yet to come. So it's like a future prediction of what's going to happen based on wahi. So a lot of scholars would say that this hadith is talking about what's going to happen, what's going to be the ultimate demise of the Prophet Muhammad's father. But the idea is that this hadith itself, it breaks the narrative, which is that the Prophet Muhammad was trying to glorify his tribe and his people and his father and his mother and all of this. Because if he was trying to glorify everything that was related to him, this hadith, it acts as a thorn in the side of anyone who says that. Anyway, so these are the kinds of hadith that we have. Any questions on that? Yeah.
Maybe it's pedantic, but didn't Stephen Hawking say that if you travel faster than light, then you can see the past rather than the future? Because you're traveling faster than light, therefore you should be able to see the past.
He was talking about the past, not the future.
Yeah.
No, I think he said the opposite. I'm pretty sure. Like, because he has a book called The Brief History of Time.
Can you Google it?
And in that book, he's got a whole chapter on time travel. And he says, because you know, when you go into the past, you've got things like the grandfather paradox and all this kind of stuff. Because if you have an antecedent cause, even if he said it, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, he's not an authority. What I'm saying now is the case.
Yeah, if someone is going faster, then he should go to the future, not to the...
Oh, yeah, it says Stephen Hawking did not believe that time travel to the past is possible.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure about this. No, I did read the book pretty meticulously. He has a chapter on time travel, and he says that in the past it's not possible, but in the future it's possible. And if you think about logically, it's the case, because if you think about the following, right? In the past, what do we have? We have an antecedent causal chain of events. So everything that I'm doing now is as a result of the causal chain that's happened in the past. So me going into the past and changing it causes contradictions. So for example, famously the grandfather paradox. Can I go into the past and kill my granddad? If it does, it causes a contradiction. How can I be here and not be here at the same time? Because the killing of my granddad has the consequence of me not being here, but I'm here and not here at the same time. How could it be? So Hawkins and every other person would see this as a problematic issue in physics and in logic. But going into the future is different. All you have to do with the future, because what is time, by the way? Time is, in physics, time is speed over distance, right? Yeah, time is speed over distance, right?
No, distance over speed.
Distance over speed, yeah. So if it's distance over speed, which means the faster you go. I mean, have you seen this film called Interstellar?
Yeah,
of course.
I mean, there's a film called Interstellar. We'll cover it. You know, he went to another place, and then he came back, and his daughter was older than him.
This is scientifically incorrect, but yeah, it's
it's conceptually possible.
Impossible, yeah.
No, not impossible. Possible. I'm saying it's conceptually possible. If you go fast enough, you can go into the future.
It's not only possible; it's fact.
It's fact.
Because
please.
Because
tell them your credentials.
Physics, you know. Already done the physics degree.
MashaAllah. Tell us more. Tell us more.
If you, so when they launched
UCL graduate.
Yeah. not Oxford graduate yet.
Nah, who cares? It's UCL the same thing. Go on.
When
you're a controversial Palestinian speaker.
His pronouns are UCL graduate.
Well, you got two of them here. Go on.
Yeah. So when they have to communicate with the thing in space, you have clocks, right? Both in space and on Earth, and they have to account for the what they call is time dilation. And
I like
that's what
these technical terms. It gives you much
time
more credibility,
dilation,
brother. Keep going.
time
You're on a roll
dilation.
today. You're winning this thing. You're talking about time dilation. I don't know what you're going to do next.
Yeah. So that's because of the difference in speed and also the pull to the earth.
Yeah.
In space is less, here is more. So that's why they basically have to they have to account for that in the thing. So it's not only possible, it's actually fact. That they do account for that in their calculations.
Yeah, absolutely, they do account for it. And space and time are two. They call it the space-time continuum for a reason, and that's because space and time are one thing.
One fabric. That's what they call it.
Yeah, the fabric of space, the fabric of time, really. So it's very interesting. Look, all philosophers in the past have considered. They have considered most of them have considered time and movement to be the same thing. Time is movement. That's what Ghazali mentioned. Time is movement. But anyway, we digress.
And so the faster you travel, the more you travel into the future.
Exactly. Right? There you have it.
And we know that when he went from thing to Jerusalem, it was very, very fast. Exactly. So you consider that it may have been possible.
No, but going up
traveled
into the sky
future.
as well.
Yeah. So he did maybe have used
he
that
had to
method,
go further than the speed of light. I mean, or maybe for the speed of light or faster, maybe.
Yeah, it would have to be faster. Like
it had to be faster. Yes.
It has to be faster.
Yeah.
Can I say something very interesting? I'll be quick. Yeah, I know we're digressing, but I have a theory, right? So basically, you know the stars that are so far away, they're like the light that comes to us is like 100 years old, right?
More than that,
more than that, or thousands of years old.
The closest star is 4 light years away, which means that it's 4 years in the past that we're seeing it right now.
This is the benefit of having a physics guy.
Literally, correct me if I'm wrong. Literally, like hundreds of years worth of light is coming towards us, right? We see the past, basically, from those lights. So I was thinking, imagine if there's a planet next to those stars with a powerful enough telescope, and we've got light that's going there, right? And they look at the world through those lenses, and they see 500 years, Earth 500 years ago, basically. So that way, they would be looking into the past, wouldn't they?
That's very interesting. What do you think, brother?
A star's dead, right? You look at the stars are already dead.
Very powerful telescope. It would. I don't think it would be possible. It would have to be very large, and it would have to be bigger than the solar system. Basically.
But conceptually, would you say that you could do that?
I think looking into the past is different
you can look into the
from
past.
being in it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think that we have to make a differentiation. But that's a good point. You made me think. You did make me think.
Yeah. So radio waves, which are the waves that you use to.
Well, the complete it now. Well, I like your contributions.
Which are the waves that you use to send, like phones and stuff like that, which they use.
Television.
So, I think the first one was the Olympics in 1936, which was when Hitler was in power. In Germany, and so if you go far enough, how many light years? How many? It's like 100. No, sorry.
170.
70, 80 years or something between now and 1936. So if you go 78 or 80 light years now away, you can see if you have a TV, you can see the 1936 Olympics.
You can pick up the signal.
You can pick up the signal.
Oh, is it interesting?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's a very interesting. That's extremely interesting.
Which is why I thought.
Oh, I see your point. Oh, I see. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's go to the next guy. This is it's mind-boggling. We need to have a whole session on it.